If you want your child to not go astray in the Western country, please send that child to Africa. Repackage your child or your children back to Africa. This has been the Apostle Creed on everyone's lips in abroad. Most people in abroad, not everyone anyway. Have you noticed that each time a child misbehaves or has their own opinion, especially a child that is being raised in the Western country, by an African parent, if the child starts having their own opinions in a way that is strange or foreign to our own native culture, the next thing would be package him. Catapult your child to Africa if you don't want to lose him to social workers, social services. PM, do not waste time. Take him home to reset his brain or her brain. This has always been the advice. Funny enough, these parents would just travel home to Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, or anywhere in Africa with their child, their stubborn child, straight to a boarding school. Usually they would choose the best school, the best of all the best. Most of there's Western schools or expensive schools in Africa, Nigeria, my country, they are being managed by the foreign experts, Yes, British people, you see their flags, especially in Lagos, you see you wouldn't see a Nigerian flag, you would see American flag, a British flag, all the countries' flags. Oh my God, in one school, very expensive school. These are kind of schools most parents in the Western country would catapult their children all the way from overseas back to those schools. Piam, they would dump them there in a boarding school, back to Obodo Yibo, back to abroad, not knowing the kind of individuals that they have abandoned their children to. Piam, this child would get to interact with children from different backgrounds, different levels, politicians, children, those ones that are the most corrupt on earth because they don't get trained. Sorry to say that a lot of our politicians, they have nanny, they have maid, they have cleaners, they have the one that brushes their heads, their bum at home. Their children don't do nothing because domestic staffs are barakete. They can easily afford all of that. So these are the kind of children they get. Your children get to mix up with in these boarding schools in Africa. And the teachers, most of them are also imbibing the British way of teaching. Nothing like corporal punishment. It's not like the kind of school we attended back in the days. If you come late, they will kneel you down and flog you. If ya. No, it's not that kind of school. Very posh schools in Nigeria. I don't know if it is better. I don't know if I could say that the ones here are even better because your children get to go to school and then come back home to you. When the child misbehaves, you get to correct the child or blah, 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 direct the child. And then regarding domestic chores or domestic work, you get to direct the child on what to do, help out, clean and blah, blah, blah. But in that international school in your home country, that child, they have staff doing all the cleanings. He's there just to go to school, come back in the hostel and do the rest of the things that I cannot explain. Watch this video and let me know what you think.
My mommies and my daddies, brother, sister, they say person will see something they spoil, when no talk. That person a bad person. I beg, Mona, look this video well, look these children well. These children now secondary school children for one school where then they call Excel College for Ejigbo. Excel College for Ejigbo. I bet Mona look take see as children they take, they smoke, they drink for inside boys hostel. I beg, why would they send out this video now? If person gets pikin for this kind of school, I beg go come on your pikin before they go spoil your pikin for you. In case you get person we get, you fit tell them, say this school don't cast, their boys hostel don't cast. Imagine the kind of children where they train for this kind of school. I beg, if you get pikin, go carry your pikin. No, don't let these children spoil your pikin. No, let these children destroy the future of your pikin. Which kind children where they want bring out from this kind of school? See as children they take smoke, they drink. I beg mama, papa, person no go day for house, go to go die for where they tire more. I beg mona go carry on a picking. Go and pick your picking.
Those are kids, teenagers, precisely from a cell boarding school in Ejibo. Ejibo is somewhere that is not that posh in Lagos. But when you look at it, most boarding schools or private schools in Nigeria, they are usually built in some outskirts of some communities. Something like this Redeem secondary school, built in Ogun State, correct me if I'm wrong, is just in the middle of the bush, outskirts. So these children, they don't get to go to anywhere. Everything happens in that their boarding school cycle, But I don't know exactly the location of this school in Ejibo, how that area is. But look at the children. Did you see what the children were doing? Busy enjoying them. Goodness me, goodness. These are just teenagers. How did they manage to smuggle in those things that they were consuming in a boarding school? Normally, I did not attend a boarding school, but I know that they should have people looking after them. Teachers come to work and go home, but they usually have like a housemaster in each of the houses in all this boarding school. Let me know in the comment section that look after them at night, daytime. But you can imagine having your teenager out there in a school. You still think that he's still a child. Your child, he doesn't know all of them thinking. But this child knows how to smoke. And you know what goes on when children start testing this kind of juvenile delinquencies and all of that, smoking. Look at them. Where are their shirts and their clothes? You can imagine the kind of lifestyle iniquities that will be going on there. It's just like a girls' boarding school alone. A lot of them, they learn rubbish. Yes, soupe is common among boarding schools. Soupe is common among boys' schools alone, boys' boarding schools alone. Soupe is also common in the seminary. Don't ask me the meaning of soupe. Yeah, that is what they call all this LGBT in this country, homo and all of that. Exactly the meaning. So imagine, after they must have been high, where are their tops? Topless. I don't know what they have celebrated. Possibly one of them may have celebrated a birthday or something like that. Boom. Where did they get those things? How did they manage to smuggle those things into that hostel? And they did not. It shouldn't be their first time for them to be. This one would smoke and give to this one, and give it to that one. Jesus Christ. And they will still come home looking so innocent. You wouldn't know. If you live in the Western country, I ask you this question. Will you feel comfortable sending your child to a school in Africa when you are not living in Africa? You are not there. You won't be there because it is different when a child attends a day school. The child goes to school and comes back home. You can as well direct this child, remind the child to do their homework, to do other things outside of studying. Saturday, Sunday. Every family has their routine on Saturdays and Sundays. Sunday, you take this child to church. Some families, they do have discussion. When I was growing up, you go to church, you come back. My big bros would gather all of us around the table. What did you learn from the preaching? I'm a Catholic. You will say what you learned from. First reading is taken from what book? You will say. Second reading, you will say. Then the gospel. So what did you learn? This person will say their own point. They will point at you. They will point at this person. Praying, we go around the table. When we pray, we do procession so that nobody falls asleep. They were there guiding us. And sometimes when you want to do something, you'll be like, oh, big boss is watching. Mom is there. You control yourself. Or when you haven't done your assignment, you will just remember that, oh, your parents are there or your brothers are there to watch you. But these ones in the boarding school, you only pick up your phone to call them. You don't know if they do their assignments or not. Remember, most of these international schools in Nigeria and Africa and our British standard, which means, like I stated, corporal punishment is entirely out of it. Yes, nobody is talking about corporal punishments anymore. But if you are sending your child back home in the name of you want to reshape that child to have the kind of, to experience the kind of life you experience, our culture, you know, how to behave, because in Africa it's not just one person that has a child. If that child is in a primary school, that is not going to happen. Like that child would not have that experience. In my own opinion, I don't know what you think, for those of you who have their children in the boarding schools back home, that child, in my own opinion, I'm saying my own opinion, can only experience such when the child goes to school and comes back to meet their parents at home. Those ones in Lekki, VI, Asorok in Abuja, I am not sure that they experience such lifestyle. They will, their parents, sorry to say that, it is hard, you know, because their parents has everything. They have driver that take them to, they protect them. You hardly see their children. What is our, okay, politicians aside. But if you are here in abroad trying to measure up, and you claim that you want to send your child back home because you want that child, my sister, my brother, I don't think it is possible. I don't think it's possible, considering you just dumped that child in a boarding school, all these high standard boarding schools in back home. I'm not talking about this Excel school, because I don't think this one is a posh boarding school. But even at that, for any parents back home to have money to keep their children in a boarding school, that means that parents is rich, because boarding schools are relatively expensive. You know, whether low standard boarding school or high standard ones, it's not that affordable, you know. So for the children in this very video, you know, seeing, misbehaving, testing the raw hard way of life, definitely they are from maybe middle class families, middle class background. Yeah, their parents, obviously their pockets are relatively heavy, or heavier, you know, that for them to have had their children in that boarding school. I do not advocate catapulting a child back home. I know it is hard in the Western country. We live in a place that we are not sure of. We come here claiming that, yes, we are here for our children. Unfortunately, the rules or the laws here, especially when it comes to, you know, safeguarding issues over children, sometimes it seems as if it's against us, but it's not. Just that they already know that, just that the Westerners, you know, they have already known that African way of parenting is quite harsh, different from this. We don't romance our children. Yes, our tune of expression is always high, high, high. So they presume our kind of parenting is entirely different from this. And sometimes they consider that as punishment, we hurting our children. Unfortunately, no parents can, especially if you are very much sane, you cannot do anything against your child. Whatever treatment or whatever advice you are giving to your child, punishment, let me not say punishment. Punishment not exist for this kind of country. You know, you are trying to correct your child in order for him or her not to go astray. But sometimes they misunderstand us in this part of the world. That is the only problem we have. You know, if not, I think it is better off you staying with your children, watching over your children here. Yes, I remember my friend in this very England that sent her child to a boarding school here in the UK. Guess what? That child is currently behind bars. He's currently in prison. He paid huge amount of money. You know, private school is expensive. Per term is 3,000 plus and 4,000 plus in England. Go and check in a term. This woman paid all that money, and what? The boy ended up carrying drugs. Private boarding school in England. You know, so I think it's better off they go, they come back. Even when they go and come back, I'm not even sure of these children. You know, talk more of when you dump them in a boarding school. miles and oceans away from your location. You only call them video call at a particular time, because they will give you guys time to reach your children, maybe 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock. How are you today? You don't know what that child is going through. I don't advocate boarding school far. But then, in all, I know it is hard. We pray with them. We talk to them. If you go to church, take them along. If there is Sunday school, enroll them into those Sunday schools. Chat with them, discuss with them, be friends with your children. That is the only way. And you keep praying for them. Yes, some pastors' children and the ministers' children, they've gone astray. Is it their fault? They did their best. Sometimes we walk and do our best for these children. But some of them will still, I don't know, environmental influence, societal influence. So all we have to do, work hard, talk. Yes, also live by example. That thing you want your child to become, you live it out. And then you pray for them, pray with them. Praying for them alone is different from you praying with your children. Not everybody has a family prayer time. Some don't even pray in their homes. So when I say pray with your children, it is necessary, because as you are praying with your children, you are confessing those things you want them to become or to be, things that you want to be seen. You are telling God, you know, inspire my child to become responsible, to become this and that. That child is listening. Yes. Outside your normal discussion with your child or normal advice section, he will be shocked, or he or she, when you pray to God on all those things. This is the only way out to my own understanding. I don't know what you think. I would love to read your comments in the comment section. Do you think it's an ideal dumping your child in Africa? I'm back here, you know, believing that your child is in a boarding school, that they will reshape him, African culture, that he will learn, he or she would learn the same way you have learned. Foul. Unless you are moving down to Africa with that child. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you once again for watching. Like my video, subscribe, and keep coming back for more. Ciao.